A really subtle reason why your front desk is actually losing you patience and not keeping your schedule full. Now, they don't lose patience because they're being rude. They actually lose patience because they're maybe being a little bit too polite. And I want to let you in on a secret and let you hear two phrases that I hear on calls all the time that completely destroy your schedule, even if you are really good once they get into the clinic. Now, these phrases, they sound respectful, but I want to break them down as to why they might be costing and killing your conversions in the clinic. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down two phrases that your front desk should immediately stop using, why they ultimately backfire, and even though they might sound super nice and polite. And then what I want to do is I want to let you in on secrets that I typically teach our private coaching clients and our virtual assistants that we completely train. I want to let you in on that exact phrasing. And in fact, this is the exact phrasing that I use word for word with our trained virtual assistants that we place into practices all over the country. And this is the same phrasing that I hear after secret shopping thousands and thousands of clinics across the country. Now, these phrases are very common. They seem super benign. Like if when you hear these, you're gonna be like, I know we say these all the time. And they sound rooted in being polite and being kind and just being rock solid on trying to lead with customer service. The issue is, though, when we lead with these phrases, it leaves a lot to be desired and allows patients to ultimately just kind of cancel their appointment and not book it. And so the first phrase that I hear all the time is, "Would you like to reschedule?" It's a common one. Somebody calls into your clinic, somebody texts in, and maybe you or your admin calls, and it's like, "Hey, would you like to reschedule?" Now, the reason I don't like this phrase is because it lends itself to be a no out of the gate, right? It's, "Would you like to reschedule?" And if they have anything going on, who doesn't have anything going on, they will immediately say, "No, I'm good." And so now what happens is I've got this person on, and ultimately we lose our way here, right? Because now they're going to immediately say no because they have other things going on. And it frames the reschedule as optional. It makes the appointment seem like it's not important, and it really lends itself to saying no. And what we don't want to have happen is somebody, maybe they're booked for 2 or 3 sessions or a follow-up assessment, whatever the case may be. If they cancel that appointment, they're now off their plan of care. They're not going to get the outcome that we're ultimately hoping to get them, and ultimately they're going to trust you less and less, and eventually they're going to stop care altogether, potentially. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's just circumstances where if somebody, especially in the world of physical therapy or chiropractic, you may have somebody who's coming in 2 or 3 times a week. Like that's a possibility. But we don't want them to get off of their plan of care because we know that's what's best for the patient. And the provider knows that's what's best for them. Right. And so we don't want to make it an optional thing. Instead, what I want to do is I basically want to just assume this is called like an assumed close. Right. I'm assuming that they want to reschedule. And so, what I typically coach people on, or what I typically say, is something very simple. "Hey, yeah, no worries, John. I can get that appointment rescheduled for you." Backing up, assuming we should get their name out of the gate. "Hey, I need to cancel my appointment." Like, get their name, like connect with them a little bit. Don't be a robot. "Yeah, hey John, no worries. We can totally get you rescheduled. It looks like tomorrow. It looks like you're at 4 o'clock today. I actually have a 4 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, or a 4 o'clock appointment tomorrow. Does that work for you?" And I just assume that they're going to come in. I assume that they're going to reschedule, and I assume that that evening point worked for them. Now, the reason I like to do that is because I don't really give them an option. I assume they're going to say yes. And if they say no or they decline, "Hey, I just have too much going on. I've got another appointment Friday," whatever the case may be, then you at that point can now handle whatever objection they might be having. Instead, if they just say, "No, I don't want to reschedule," now they cancel that appointment. They don't have any follow ups. I don't even know if we've checked if they have any follow ups. And this person is now completely a ghost. And your front desk now is going to have to chase this person down. And that's the last thing we want to do. I don't want to chase ghosts down or people who have no intention of rescheduling. Versus if you offer them, hey, I've got tomorrow at 3 or 4, does that work for you? Now they can give me whatever objection they have, and I can actually handle that objection. No, money's just kind of tight right now, or I can't really afford a package or a program. Oh, no worries. And now we can actually dig into that and handle that objection. Or something we use in our clinic is like, I will get our providers to actually call them back and do a win back call where we get this person to basically call back and just talk to the patient, and at the worst, if they can't afford a package or a plan of care with us, maybe at least we get them in once a month just to get them moving in the right direction in some capacity, right? It's better than nothing, right? It's better than them just falling off and continuing to deal with whatever problem they have, and then it gets bad enough and they end up having surgery or some other further intervention, right? These are the things we don't want to have happen. So that's phrase number one. Would you like to reschedule? This keeps people on the schedule, prevents them from disappearing, and allows us to handle any objections that actually might be going on and get to the real reason of why they don't want to reschedule. And maybe you start to notice a trend, and now you need to revamp some of your first initial phone calls or some of your other sales processes. Now, phrase number two here is after I've talked to somebody on the phone, I've got them really excited to work with us, they're ready to book, I'm about to move into working with us and getting them on the schedule. And everybody says, well, what days and times work best for you? Oh man, this phrase, it seems so benign, and it sounds like we're trying to be polite, and it sounds like we're just trying to be flexible and do anything we can to take care of them. But the reality is people don't like making decisions, right? And when they have, and people are busy. And so when I have busyness and a decision to make, the default answer is to say, when is my calendar the least busy over the next 2 to 3 weeks? And let's pick that time, right? Or maybe I have something going on in my life. I have got, I've got young kids and they've got something coming up. So let's push this appointment 2 or 3 weeks out. And now 2 to 3 weeks comes and something else comes up because that's life, right? And now this appointment, which sounded like a really good idea to take care of, now actually doesn't work. And so they kick the can another 2 to 3 weeks. And now we are lucky to see this person ever actually show up because they get less and less excited. Or if they do show up, they're just not going to be as committed or as excited about it to begin with. And that's a problem, right? And not to mention the logistics, especially if you're paying for paid advertising. If I pay for an ad and they don't come in for 6 to 8 weeks later, I'm going to have a really hard time recouping my marketing costs and actually being able to continue to invest in marketing in the practice, which is a major problem, right? And so what we ultimately need to do is we need to guide them with some scarcity and ultimately guide them to a time that works best for our schedule and that is sometime within the next 24 to 48 hours. Anytime we get especially a cold lead outside of that window, these things start to happen. Now, I get it. There's some nuances with some of your practices. Maybe they need to pull lab work or, maybe you can pull that up after the appointment. But we got to get these people in as quickly as possible. Now, what do I do instead in these situations? Instead of saying what days and times work best for you, I just offer them my next 2 available appointments. Hey, I have tomorrow at noon, or I have 4 p.m. Which of those works for you? No. I actually need morning time. Okay, no worries. I've got the next day, I've got tomorrow at 8 a.m., or I have the following day at 8 a.m. Which of those works for you? And now it just guides them and pushes them. They don't have to look at their schedule. They don't have to well, my kids have a soccer. They don't have to think about it. Here's my 2 options. Do I want it? Yes or no? And now you may actually still get pushback. Well, I need to wait 2 weeks because of whatever. And obviously we want to minimize that and downplay that. But certainly what we want to have happen is I want them in as quickly as possible. It works better for your schedule, and now they're not kicking the can down the road forever and ever. And so these are the 2 phrases. They seem super benign, right? They seem super common. And why would I nitpick such a small detail? Again, these are the things where I've got 1 or 2 patients who drop off here or there. that can be a massive ROI for a practice, especially as you add several providers to a practice, or maybe you have multiple locations. It's these little small hinges that ultimately swing the biggest doors in your practice. And when I can keep people on the schedule and I can get them in quickly, it now leads to additional revenue and speed that ultimately is going to help the practice grow like we need it to. And it creates a lot of stability for you as opposed to instability, confusion, and patients just falling through the cracks constantly. Now, when I take those two phrases, let's start to implement them into the practice ASAP. Take this stuff, implement it, and you're going to watch your schedule not have these really fluffy points to it. And you're going to notice your new leads that had an eval and that canceled, that stuff is going to drop as well. So once you can anchor that in, you're going to see a big ROI back for the practice. Now, I have a lot of this stuff completely built out for you inside of our free front desk course. It's located inside of our school community. We've got over 2,200 docs inside of that training at the time of recording this video. Would love to have you join. Or if you would like me to step in and either train your current team that you have or place you with one of our trained virtual assistants that already know how to handle all of this stuff, and you can skip the entire hiring nightmare altogether, you can book a call with me. I will drop the link in below, and I look forward to seeing you there.